everyone, my name is Eugene. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to look at nouns. The first lesson that we did on this channel was on 4 types of nouns: proper nouns, common nouns, concrete nouns, and abstract nouns. Now today we're going to look at countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Now the names speak for themselves. Countable meaning something you can count, while uncountable is that which you can count. But I'll further explain the meaning of them and how they work in sentences, so that you'll be able to apply same and you'll be able to identify them whenever you see them. Okay? So sit back, relax, pay attention, and let's hope at the end of the lesson you will gain something from it. So let's get straight into the lesson. Now these are some important information that you need to bear in mind when you are dealing with countable nouns. And first of all, countable nouns deal with things. First thing you need to bear in mind is that countable nouns are nouns that we can count. Nouns we can count. Countable nouns are nouns we can count. The next thing to bear in mind is that countable nouns have singular and plural forms. Countable nouns have singular and plural forms. Next thing, we can use a number, a or an, before any countable noun. And the next thing down here is singular verbs go with singular countable nouns, and likewise plural verbs go with plural countable nouns, because countable nouns come in singular and plural. Singular meaning one, plural meaning more than one. Alright, so let's get a little deeper by giving some examples. Okay, let's look at these sentences. Remember in the beginning I told you that you can use a number, a or an, to describe the quantity when you're talking about countable nouns. Okay, now these first set that we have here, these first 3 here, these are singular. The countable nouns are used in the singular form. Singular means one. Okay, plural means more than one. All right, so in this sentence we have, there is one car on the road. All right, now here we have one, which describes the quantity. It's only one car. Alright? So the countable noun here, car, is singular. So one indicates that the quantity is singular. Alright? And if you notice, the verb that comes before one is, because is a singular verb. Are would be the plural, but in the case where we have one car, we use the verb is. And remember, we say the verb and the countable noun must correspond in terms of numbers. So therefore, if you have a singular countable noun, it has to be preceded, or a singular verb has to come before it. Alright? So here we have car. Let me just highlight it. So the countable noun here is car, because you can count car. Okay? You see several cars pass on the road. You might look at the parking lot, you see several cars. So you can count them. So that noun is countable. But here we have one, which indicates the quantity, which means that it is singular, one car. And therefore we use the verb is, because is a singular verb. And whatever quantity we have for the countable noun, the verb must correspond. So if we have a singular countable noun, we have to have a singular verb. So the countable noun here is car, one car, one car, so the verb is singular. Let's get on to the other sentence. There is a book on the table. I remember we said that a is a word that can be used to describe the quantity of countable noun that we have. So the sentence reads, there is a book on the table. Okay, so here we have book, and a describes the quantity because a means that it's one. Once you say a, it means you're talking about one thing. So it's a book. And we have is here, which is singular, because again, let me remind you, whatever the countable noun is, whether it is singular or plural, the verb must correspond. Okay, so in this case we have book, which is singular, so therefore we use is. All right, so the countable noun here is book, and we have a, which is indicating the quantity there, and is, which is the singular verb. All right, so there we go. Now this one, there is an apple on the ground. There is an apple on the ground. Okay, so there is an apple on the ground. All right, so apple is a countable noun here. You can count apples, and an indicating that it's one. Okay, and is a singular verb, which is correct. Okay, because we couldn't say there are an apple on the ground. That would be incorrect as well. So the correct way to say it is there is an apple on the ground. All right, next sentence. There are many people voting. Okay, now we don't have to use a number to indicate, necessarily have to use a number to indicate the quantity when you're talking about plural. You could say 10 people, you could say 20 people, 100 people, but you could also say many people. Okay, so therefore it means more than one person. So many means more than one person, even though you don't give a specific number. All right, so the countable noun here, that is plural, and plural people indicates plural as well, because if it was singular, then you would talk about person. Okay, so people there, plural, and many helps to indicate the quantity, so you know it's not singular. And if you notice here, we didn't use is here, we use are, because are would be the plural verb. And remember, we say if the countable number is plural, then the verb must be plural. If the countable number is singular, then the verb must be singular. All right, next sentence. There are 6 eggs in the bag. Okay, now we use a number to indicate the quantity here. Okay, the number 6, so that indicates that it's plural because it's more than one. Once it's more than one, it's plural. Singular means one. So eggs there is a countable noun, and 6 indicates the quantity, the specific quantity, and we use a plural verb to go along with it. All right, next sentence. There are few mangoes left. Okay, and few is a word that we can use to indicate quantity when we're talking about plural countable nouns as well. Okay, it's not a specific number, it's like many. You don't know the amount, but you know that it's more than one. Once you say it's few, you know that indicates more than one, just like many. All right, so the countable noun here is mangoes, and if you notice, mango is spelled M-A-N-G-O, but when we are pluralizing it, we add es. That's how some words in English are. Okay, you add es to them. Some words you just add an s, but in the case of mangoes, you are supposed to add es. So there are few mangoes left. Okay, so few indicates the quantity, and are is the verb there that matches the quantity, because it's plural countable noun, so therefore we use a plural verb. All right, let's go to uncountable nouns. And there are certain things you need to know, very important, regarding uncountable nouns. Let's say rules. All right, we could call them rules. Uncountable nouns cannot be counted. All right, so it's nouns that cannot be counted. All right, you can count them like how you would do with countable nouns. Like you could say we have books, you can count books, you can count cars, you can count houses, you can count people. Uncountable nouns are different. They are nouns that you can't count. All right, and I'll explain further when we go along. All right, and you cannot use a, an, or a number to tell the amount. Okay, you cannot use a, an, or a number to tell the quantity or the amount. Okay, the only time you can do that is when you are using it with another countable noun, and that might sound confusing, but I'll explain. All right, that's what this is saying here. You can use it, you can use a number or a or an only if you use a countable noun in the sentence. Okay, and in that case, the a or the an or the number would be referring to the countable noun, but not the uncountable noun. But it might sound a little confusing, but when I get to that and give you an example, you'll understand. Okay? Now, the next one says, they are always singular. Okay? Uncountable nouns are always singular, so you don't add s or es to it like what you do with countable nouns. They are always singular. Okay, and therefore they always take a singular verb. Okay, they're always singular, so they always take a singular verb because the verb must correspond with the noun. So in the case of uncountable nouns, they're always singular, so they always take a singular verb as well. Because here we have some example sentences, and the first sentence reads, there is a lot of wine here. There is a lot of wine here. Now, the uncountable noun that we have here is wine. Wine is always singular, right? We can't count it. We can't count wine. It's uncountable, right? So the sentence goes again. There is a lot of wine here. Now, before we go any further, we must remember that we cannot use a or an or a number. We can't say one wine or two wine. We can't say a wine or an wine. Okay? Now these up here are some words that we can use to express quantity in terms of uncountable nouns. Right? We can use some, we can use much, we can use little, we can use a lot, we can use a lot of, we can use no, and we can use not much. We can use those instead of using an or a number. These are some words that you can use to express the quantity or the amount when you're talking about uncountable nouns, because uncountable nouns means that you can't count. You can't count it. All right, you can't count wine. Right? It's an uncountable noun. Now, here we have wine. Notice I circle it. That's the uncountable noun. And the words that we use to express the amount or the quantity is a lot. Okay? And if you notice here, I have is. The reason I have is because the verb and the noun must correspond. And remember, always that the uncountable noun is always singular. You can add s to it like you do in a countable noun, or you can add es to it as in a countable noun. So the correct thing to say is there is a lot of wine. You couldn't say there are a lot of wine because it would correspond with the uncountable noun, which is singular. So we have to use is. Is is singular and wine is singular, so they correspond. All right, next sentence, money. There is some money in the bank. The uncountable noun here is money, right? And the word that we use to express the quantity or the amount is sum, right? Because see there, remember I told you that you can use sum to express quantity. All of these here in red. So there is some money in the bank, and the uncountable noun here is money. If you notice, it doesn't have an S or anything like that. It's just money. So there is some money in the bank. So this is the word that is used to express the amount. This is the uncountable noun, money, and the verb is correct there, is, because is a singular, uncountable noun singular. Next word is furniture. I often hear people say furnitures. I often hear that. There's no such word as furnitures. Furniture. Right? Because it is an uncountable noun, so it is always singular. And the sentence reads, I bought some furniture. I bought some furniture. So then this word some there express quantity or amount of furniture. Right? And furniture there is the uncountable noun. So no S on furniture, right? The word is furniture, not furnitures, as I often hear people say. So if you usually make that mistake, well, now you know the correct thing. Now this uncountable noun here is water. You can't count water. All right? The sentence reads, there is no water in the pipe. There is no water in the pipe. The uncountable noun is water, and the word that we use to express quantity is no. That means there is none. There's no water there. All right? And we use the verb is. Milk is also another uncountable noun. And the sentence reads, there is not much milk left. There is not much milk left. And remember, we say not much is is two of the words that we could use to tell the amount when it comes to uncountable noun. So we use not much in this sentence. There is not much milk left. All right? And the verb there is singular. Now this one is a little different. The last one is a little different. The uncountable noun there is sugar. Now, in everything you have exceptions to rule. That means something that doesn't follow the rule from time to time. Okay? Now this sentence doesn't follow the rule that we spoke about, where we say we cannot use numbers like 1, 2, 3. You can't say one milk or one furniture or whatever or one sugar. Okay? But if you notice in this sentence here, I have the word two. You might be asking how come? All right? Now I'm going to explain. Now, this is an exception to the rule. When you have a sentence where you have a count, you can let me put it this way. You can use a countable noun in a sentence with an uncountable noun. And in that case, you could use a number, or sometimes you could use a or an. Right? That's an exception to the rule. In this sentence, you have, there are 2 bags of sugar in the car. Right? We didn't say 2 sugar in the car. We didn't say there are 2 sugar in the car. We said there are 2 bags of sugar in the car. So this is what makes the difference. That's what makes the difference. 2 bags. So the 2 is not referring to the sugar, because remember that sugar is an uncountable noun. So we didn't say there are 2 sugar in the car, or there is 2 sugar in the car. We said there are 2 bags. So bags is a countable noun. So when you have a sentence where you have a countable noun along with an uncountable noun, in that case, then you could use a number, or you could use a or an, which I told you can't use when you deal with sentences with uncountable noun. But because you have a countable noun there, you could use a number. The number doesn't refer to the uncountable noun. Like you are not saying 2 sugar, you are saying 2 bags of sugar in the car. So I hope it might sound a little confusing, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. that's it for today, folks. We have come to the end of another lesson. If you have found some value in this lesson, please share with someone, whether a friend, a relative, anyone who you think might find some value in this lesson as well. So thanks everyone, and don't forget, please comment, like, and if you haven't subscribed as yet, please consider doing so. See you in the next lesson.